Welcome everybody back to another bold cast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Donjo Meshi, episode 19. Let's get into it. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
What?
What? Oh, she's like a slave?
Oh. A cat one?
Oh. Oh. What?
Explode or something?
She'll probably just die, right? We get a weird panty shot of Senshi.
Classic. Ew.
Hairball.
What about plant monsters?
Just my imagination. Yeah, sure.
What's this magic circle business?
It's like heat. It's like a heat metal thing, maybe.
I think it looks pretty good. You think I'd eat that? Well, I will. This kid.
It looks really good.
She doesn't like mushrooms.
Relatable to somebody.
Oh no.
The soundtrack. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Whoa!
Oh my god! What's that called? The Reaper Death Seal going on over here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This
Inflate.
etiquette lesson turned to fighting lesson. Damn.
They don't fuck around over there.
驚かせるような真似をして悪かにはいい悪いがあるというのはなぜか。
He does not care about anything but the spoon.
料理が冷めてしまったな。すぐに温め直そう。
それで、
Oh my god,
な
so
ぜ俺
good.
たちの後をつけてきたんだ。
にかかったこの呪いを解く方法を探してた。黒魔術による呪いだということまでは分かったが、黒魔術を扱える人間は耳長に出会うまでは古代魔術といってもいろいろで、私の研究は主に異次元からエネルギーをできるはずだ。だって現にお前はやってみせた。人間と魔物の異形を作る黒魔術を。で、お前たちはあの女の呪いを解くために迷宮を呪いを解く方法を知ってるだろ。
Complete switch up.
呪いも解けるな。足に取り付いたこの獣の魂を取り除いてくれ。ごめんなさい。それは私にはどうすることもできない。魂にはまだわからないこと。
An egg.
肉体という殻の中だけど、肉体が壊れるとならない。この迷宮には殻の内側に頑丈な膜を作る術がかかってるの。魂が離れない。今のあなたやファリンは一つの殻に二つの中身が入っている状態。二度と元の形には戻らない。
分かっちゃいたが、こうはっきり言葉にされると。
私たちは旅を続けてるんだ。
一つは妹をあの状態のまま次に出会った冒険者を殺すかもしれないし、その前に俺たちで何とかしたい。あと単純に今地上に戻ると黒魔術の使用で塚主に報告するだろうし。
そんな。じゃあ私はずっと。
いや、でも俺はこんなことを言うのもなんだか混ざっているのかわからないが、君の言動は人間そのものにしか見えないし、殺人衝動もない。裏を返せばファリンだって元の人格を取り戻せるかもしれない。それが分かっただけで俺は今すごい嬉しくて。
ほれ、これも何かの縁と前向きに考えてみてはどうかの。
この迷宮の主は私よりずっと古代魔術の扱いに優れての分離に関することも何か知ってるかも。何？まさか勧誘してるのか？どの道一人で。
Well, you don't really have a choice, so
それは通りなだ。
それじゃあ、
井筒罪だ。覚えておけ。
we should have given her something crunchy so that she could be like.
Yeah. Like that one cat.
生活に生きなさい。竜退治をさせるためにお前を外にやったわけ。
He really does look like he's a descendant of the fucking royal line, to be honest.
忘れなさい。
Especially the
お
dad.
前のようなやつが。俺はお前のことがずっと苦手。
しつこいな。それはもう済んだ話だろ。待て、ここにいるんだ。10年以上も会ってないのに。そもそもどこだここ。何してたんだっけ。俺は確か
Sleeping? Probably?
最近のマルシルは何というか。
なんでさ。
Oh, was he supposed to be watching, but he fell asleep?
いいから。
なのよ。別にそんな疲れてないし。起きるからね。
ネイキはそのうち広く
Maybe something about this part of the dungeon is giving everyone nightmares.
おそらくナイトメアだからで悪夢を見せ感情を食う。このままだとマルシルは衰弱して死んでしまう。よせ。
How do they get it out?
精神に傷がつく。取り憑かれた時はファリンが夢の中に入ってた。あの方法を試してみよう。
お前がマルシルの
How?
誰かがこれは夢だと気づかせてあげないと。そうだ。俺はマルシルを助け。
It's like counting fawns.
夢の中だ。まんまとナイトメアに味見されたな。いつもこれだ。ほんと人の嫌なものをよくわかってるよ。絵だと気づけばこちらだもん。いでよ。我が才。
No. Oh.
さて、マルシルの夢に入るのだ。今彼女は俺の頭の下だ。ということは、地面を掘り抜いている。
What? Turns into his dog form. He's just, this is his power fantasy right here. Whoa.
落下感で目が覚めるとこだった。
Whoa. That's so cool how his is so simple, just a white room and stuff, and hers is really elaborate.
Who are these pictures of humans?
してるの。だから早く逃げて。
マルシル。俺だよ。
Is that falling?
そしてここは君の夢の中だ。今すぐ目を覚まし。夢？
Oh boy. I don't know if that's her mom.
パパとピピもあいつに飲み込まれちゃったの。
パパとピピ、何かに追われる夢か。月並みだけど嫌な夢だよ。確かファリンは
ナイトメアは心の傷が大好きなの。そういう記憶を刺激して人に悪夢を見せる。の心の傷を守ってあげるといい。
へえ。
でもしないでね。
よし、わかった。俺があいつをやっつけてやる。危ないよ。大丈夫、大丈夫。こう見えて俺は結構。
Sure you want to take it down? Whatever it is? Ew.
What the hell? What is that?
あれがマルシルの恐怖か。随分脚色されているようだな。確かにあれを俺が倒すのは無理だし、夢を自覚すれば敵ではないのに。ここまで来れば。
そんな場所なんてない。誰も省かれない。
一緒にやっつけ方を考えよう。マルシルが恐れる魔物だよな。這うような動きは緩慢。無数の触手を持ち、見た目が気持ち悪い。虫系かな。しかし、虫であんな巨体はなかなかし。
Using all of his monster knowledge.
ワームだ。ワームだよ、竜族の炎。足や目は退化してまるで巨大。何でも食う。弱点は火や光。なかなか渋いとこつくな。
Oh my god. It's so gross and creepy looking. It's poisonous.
What?
なんだこれ。
Is he melting? Whoa.
恐怖を煽ってしまう。なんて毒だ。他人の死んだらどうなるんだ。
If you die in a dream, you die in real life.
不安や恐怖ツボだ。マルシルを励ませ。大丈夫。君には魔術の力がある。マルシルはあの蘇生術のせいでファリンがああなったと悔いている。そうとしたっていうのはつまりマルシルは死を恐れてるんだ。ばかりではダメだ。君は立ち向かわないといけない。大丈夫だ。この迷宮では死んでも生き返れるし、ファリンだって君の蘇生術のおかげでまだ生きられたもんだったろ。
I don't know about this.
吸い込まれる。俺だけ吸い込んでる。
Is aging.
毒じゃない。すごい速さで年を取ってるんだ。少し待ってくれ、マルシル。こんなことができる生物がいるだろうか。ひょっとして生物ではないのかも。
あなたも私について。
だからまた走れるから。
嘘。みんな私と一緒に走ることを諦めてあいつに飲み込まれていく。だから私は魔術をたくさん勉強したのに、それがファリンをこんな姿にしてしまったのなら。
君のお父上は創生されたのか。
パパのお葬式の時、ママが言ってた。私は身からもたくさんの人を見送らないといけない。
ちなみにピピってのは親戚かな。
鳥です。
なるほど。マルシルは
So is she a half elf?
自分より先に死ぬという不安。マルシル、落ち着け。君が怖がるほどあいつの力が増すだけだ。
何もできないよ。
いや、できる。なぜなってみろ。この本の数の中なんて何もなかったぞ。君はずっと努力を続けていたんだろう。平行心を持て。頑張れ、マルシル。
嫌だ。そもそも私の魔術は不完全なの。あの子が持ってるのに。
では、そう望め。
Mm.
君が強く願えば何でもやれる。諦めるな。
Whoa.
Well, she doesn't know what's in it, so, you
一
know.
緒にうなされてたぞ。大
よく覚えてない。なんだか疲れる夢を見たい。
二度目に入るぞ。
ダメだ。起き。
夢よく覚えてない見た気はするけど
成功したみたいだ。
Sure.
Yeah, it's lots of
Whatever
fun.
you say.
Jesus Christ, man.
それは
ナイトメアだよ。こいつが人
Oh.
の中に潜んで悪夢を見
Like a shellfish.
Why is everything like shellfish?
結構前からまく。
嘘
サシ、これ食べられないかな。ずっと味が気になってたんだ。
おお、ま
She's like, what have I gotten myself into?
つけると
このナイトメアは別名、実は竜の仲間なんだよ。よく見ると竜っぽさあるだろ。
嘘でしょ
ナイトメアを並べてワインを足
Whoa.
り最後に少し醤油を垂らしてじゃこれ
Whoa.
これ私だ
夢が蜃気楼になったんだ。
なんだか思い出してきたかも私が何かから逃げてたら一匹の犬が面白い夢
なんか嘘。
機能がなさそう
It looks dumb.
これは白銀の狼だった。
That's not how I remember it at all.
夢に貢献できたのならよかったよ。
So cute.
That was
Wow,
a
that was
strange one.
That was a fast episode, too.
Yeah, it was. Jesus. What'd you think of that one?
It was a really interesting episode. I liked it. It was kind of different. I loved like the beginning part with when the spell around her neck went away,
Yes.
and then said she was just so like, look, she's holding that kitchen knife completely wrong, and that causes it to be weak. It's a good tool, but she's using it incorrectly. Like how the spoon is a good tool, and you were using it incorrectly. It's just so funny. And then I like the whole thing of Laios being like, oh, you know, even if we can't separate your soul, at least it gives me hope for
that
falling.
that falling could maybe be normal.
Because obviously she's acting like a cat and, you know, has terrible manners and stuff, but she's still a person.
Yeah, she's still talking with them and isn't, you know, trying to kill them constantly.
And like they were saying, possibly the magician that created this dungeon probably knows more about souls
Yes.
than they do and could potentially, you know, help with falling in the future as well. But
It's interesting that these two, like, concepts were put together. I thought that they were going to lead into each other a little bit more. I was trying to guess, like, oh, is the egg metaphor going to, like, come into this somehow? Or, like, because he's in the dream, is he, like, a, you know, just the soul without the flesh right now? Is there something about that? But, and maybe there is some, like, similarities there if you think about it, but I thought they were going to be more functionally, like, connected with how Laios was going to deal with the dream. But the dream had a lot of stuff.
I love how Laios' dream, like, it was a nightmare, but it was so not elaborate. Like, it was just people standing in a white room.
Like, telling him
he's
that he's
so-
kind of a failure.
Yeah, just because, but, like, not even, like, with conviction, but, like, not even that much. Like, he's just like,
But-
hey, we already sorted this out. Wait a second. You know,
Yeah,
like, he's,
his Laios is basically like, I don't care. Like, I just want monsters to eat. That's all I care. Like, I don't know what. I haven't seen my family in 10 years. I don't care what they think.
it's just so funny that, like, his is
Why
so
is this happening?
unelaborate, and then Martial has this, like,
Crazy
super
H.P.
elaborate
Lovecraft.
yeah, black and white, all of these
Fucking,
books flying through there, this craziest monster that you could imagine. Like, it's just so interesting, and him, like, vividly aging on one side. It's just, it's so cool to see the difference in their minds, because, like, also a lot of the shows, like, how different everyone is. In last episode, how we had physical representations of how each of the people saw each of the other people, you know? So it's just cool to see that kind of displayed even further.
And it looks like so either Marcille is a full-blooded elf and her dad wasn't her dad, or she's a half-elf because her dad, she kept talking about Papa, Pee-Pee, and her mom. Her mom, we saw in later paintings, was clearly an elf. Mm-hmm. And, like, a very elegant, like her, but, you know, more elegant looking. Mm-hmm. And then there's Pee-Pee, who's apparently just a bird. Her pet bird that died, and that was really sad for her. Which is also interesting because we don't know how old Marcille is, but depending on the bird, it could have been living for like 60 years.
Yeah, if it was like a parrot or something, it could live for a long time.
But I think, judging by the picture, it's probably like a cockatiel or something like that, so probably not as long. But anyway, yeah, then we see the only other person that we see in the paintings looks to be at varying ages human. We could go through a little bit more in depth here. I think that's her. I think that's Marcille here. Because she's got the neck thing. Maybe that's her mom. It's either her or her mom. And then there's a bunch of other pictures. There's the dude with the long hair here. She really loves. Here's that same picture where in her dad died, had a funeral. But there's there's the round ears, which is characteristic of not a elf but a human.
Yeah.
There's the mom looking to be sewing something here. Or knitting more, or crocheting, actually, it looks like. It looks like it's just one hand, one needle.
Oh, maybe.
There's a needle there. Maybe it's knitting.
It looks like knitting.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, there's 2 needles. There's one in each hand, so.
Yeah,
but yeah, so the Papa seems to be a human, which is interesting, and also doesn't look exactly like Laios, but it looks to have similar hair color, similar face shape and nose. I'm not saying they're related, but, like, I don't know. Maybe they're from the same area, or because there's the stuff with the elves that are like, you know, they ruled this continent, and then there's the royal family who, you know, looks a lot like Laios, and we saw Laios' dad who looks a lot like Delgal and all those dudes. But and I don't know. Maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe like people around that area all look a certain way or something like that. But or it's just a random similarity. But
it would be interesting if she's a half elf, because she has, if that is her dad, and if he died of old age while she was still basically a kid,
that would give her the
then
fear
that
of
would
death.
Yeah, but it would also be interesting because normally half elves, like if in a fantasy world, if elves can live to like 2,000 or 3,000 years or something,
or
and then a
forever.
half elf could maybe live like 200 to 500 years, like
max.
Like they usually don't live, like they live a lot longer than humans, but only a lot longer in comparison to humans. They usually only live a fraction of the amount of time of an elf. And I feel like typically they age more similar to a human than like if it's just a human but lives longer. Yeah, in a world where elves have an unnaturally long childhood where they're like a kid for 60 years, a half elf, you know, might be age just slightly slower than a human. You know, like I feel
different things have different like formulas for that.
Yeah. In a lot of I guess what I'm saying is in a lot of fantasy stories, it seems like usually half elves take more after the human half with just like you know, a slight they're just like a slightly longer lived human.
Because it's like the idea behind elves is that they're essentially angels. They're like spirits. They're physical manifestations of like God's will, basically, if you're thinking in a Tolkien sense. That's why the elves at the end of Lord of the Rings, they go off to the Undying Lands, because like like Tolkien's idea is that like in The Hobbit, things are really magical, and before that, they're really, really magical. And then as things progress, we move more towards like our real world life, and that's like the quote unquote right way, where like things are more mundane, and there's challenges to that, and tragedy to living a mortal world with no magic. But you know, it's the world that we in real life live, and that's, you know, emblematic of God's will on the world. So like the elves are angels, they're angelic, pure beings that, you know, are unfettered by the physical and mortal existence. So when you dilute that with human genes, then that they become more of a physical being, and that tamps down way like a lot of the purity that like elves are supposed to have. But you know, it depends on the fantasy world whether or not it's like 50-50, so you live half as long as an elf, but usually like they, you know, the idea is elves are like so far beyond it.
That is, I guess what I was saying is that it could be interesting and it's hard to tell because it's these pictures and she's turned away in that one. But the way that it's making it seem is like she was still relatively young when her dad looks to have died of old age. And he doesn't look that old when she was like a baby. So I guess I'm just wondering if maybe in this world, if like the elf genes are more dominant over human genes and she is basically like she is more like if she is a half elf, if she's more like basically she's just an elf instead of like the human stuff.
That's also what I was gonna say. Is there's so that's the one way is that like the elf stuff gets so diluted and almost bred out, or there's the other way where the elf genes could be so strong, almost like an invincible type thing, where the elf genes are so strong that despite being product of a human elf
it doesn't even
relationship, the elf genes are so strong that they take hold and it becomes an elf child. Basically, so yeah, there's multiple ways that can go about it, but it's or it's just that she calls her dad because it's just he was there when she was growing up and they had a relationship and do we know if her mom's alive? I can't remember that detail.
I can't remember.
I don't know who this cat is either.
Like it.
But yeah, it's also interesting that like her monster ages people. You know, she's afraid of death. Because she had this experience early in life where her dad died, her bird died, and then her dad died, and then she was like, you know, it kind of traumatized her in a way as a being that's gonna have to see that forever. So then when her friend comes to her dream and is touched by this monster, this object of her fear, then it fulfills exactly what she's afraid of. But it makes perfect sense why she was so interested in black magic, why she was so interested in resurrection magic, because it makes perfect sense.
I also like she gets the book in her dream and then she just hits it,
and then he's just like is that how you use it?
I love it because it's like the dream logic of like all her brain knows is that if she could get this thing, it would solve her problems. But obviously she can't open it in the dream because she doesn't know what's in there. So she would just your brain can't conceptualize it. So instead she just is like, this is the answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty funny. I like that dream logic.
There's many things in this episode that they did to sort of reset everybody, reset the audience and what's the word I'm looking for? Like ground the audience in what's happening in this story. Because there's the Izutsumi. She shows up and she introduces herself. We meet her, so she's basically like, all right, like if you think of her as an example, like she's basically a reason. And her getting introduced is like a reason for the story to, again, ground the audience and restate what the stakes are, what everything is. So she is similar to Fallen. Obviously, they go into that. But like if you think about setting this up, she's a beast person who wants to be changed back to normal. So she shows up and she's like, I'm following you guys because I want to be changed back to normal. And then they're like, oh, well, we can't do that. But maybe the elf will have some information. So then that gives her a reason to come along. But it also lets the characters tell the audience, like remind us of the kind of the stakes here. And then all the stuff about Shiro telling the Lord of the Island, all the stuff, restating all the stuff with the dungeon and how it works, giving us a little bit more context about how the soul works or how they theorize the soul to work, to give us some sort of basis of knowledge for how that can interact with the story. And then in Marcial's dream, we also get the thing with the book where that seems to be like now built up as this sort of MacGuffin thing where that has the knowledge of the elves or, the sacred knowledge, which by the way has a biblically accurate angel on it. I don't know if we mentioned that before, but like there's this eye with infinity and then the double wings. There's the angel called a seraphim. If you know anything about all that, usually they have, I think they have 7 wings or more wings than that.
And they also have more eyes.
They often have more eyes. And there's different depictions of them, but or it could be a cherubim as well, but it's depicted a little bit differently. Cherubim are like the 2 rings with the eyes all around and stuff like that. Anyway, it's I just didn't expect it to be built up like this, I guess. And it seems to be way more of an object of our interest going forward in the story. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't. Maybe it's, again, just a way for us to kind of direct our attention. But
I liked that like when they're cooked, it releases like the good dream.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, that nice dog. And it looks so funny because it really looks like Laios, but a dog. And he thought that he was so
and
cool.
falling's all around him too. It looks like a lot of fun as a dream.
And the library looks so nice in the light.
And I like how it's all, well, it's kind of written in different languages. I was gonna say it's like in Elvish, but I like that it's not just all in Japanese or in English on the shelves. That's kind of small detail, but
Yeah, really good episode. I liked it.
Interesting
It was
episode.
different. We still, and I loved, just as the series is going on, we've talked a lot about like how in the beginning it was very like cooking focused, and now it's more focused on other things. But that's also why I love the first half of this episode, because we got like the spoon etiquette lesson and like the cooking, and also how they were so shocked when she like threw the mushrooms out because like they eat like crazy monsters all the time.
Yeah.
And like don't throw it out like that because they don't waste it, but she's just like woo. But I love also he's like, oh, it has legs, nothing to see here.
yeah, it's like, oh, probably just my imagination.
She's like, no monsters. He's like, no monsters to see here. Cuts it all up, and then it's extra funny because then she doesn't even like the mushrooms, so he added them in because it was like the only thing that they had around.
Yeah. I guess I was like, oh, what's the title? It says Hag Nightmare. I thought the hag was gonna was supposed to be like later, and it was like, oh, did like the hag give them a dream or something? No, I guess this is the hag. I never thought of this as the hag. I thought that it was just like an oni thing. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
W
I like
episode.
this episode.
Good, interesting episode.
I also like how Laios is just as it's gone on lately, he's been learning more like magic kind of things. Like he's been getting more invested in that, like with the healing, and now he's doing what Falling did of going into someone else's dream and stuff.
Paladin Laios. Epic
cool.
Paladin Laios. Alrighty. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye.